Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. I'm over here by the door because I had this idea. No, it really doesn't involve anything to do with that magnet, but you know, got to move it out of the way. What I came up with is a way to hang things on the wall. I want to put a board up here so that I can hang, the charging station for the drills. It'd be really nice to have it close to the junction, to the power panel, so that I can do things like that. Also, this corner's really too small to do anything in. I'm not going to set up a lathe or a welder in here because it would cover up the power panel. And having anything major in this little area, I set the drill motor up here, or the drill press up here, just because there wasn't power anywhere else in the building. But I thought this would be a great place for some shelving, you know, and that, like I said, the charging station for the batteries on the drill motors and the Milwaukee battery operated saw and sawzalls and all those things that I use battery operated equipment for. But I thought, how am I going to hang it up there? And I originally thought, well, I'll just put a piece of plywood up here and run screws into the hat shape channel. And I thought, well, that'll work, but it's kind of awkward. If I fasten it there, then it's there. I can't change my mind. And I'm really trying to be flexible about the way I set up the workshop so that I can change my mind. I'm not going to go with a whole lot of pegboard. Pegboard, it sounds like a really good idea in the beginning, but then you realize that, okay, it just ends up, you put a peg in there, and then it's in the wrong spot, and you try and move it over, it's an inch either way, and it's not exactly right, so you live with something that's not right for a long time. When I built the tool wall, I followed the idea that Matthias Wandel, I'm saying the name wrong, I'm sorry, but Matthias came up with the idea of putting specially adapted holders onto a piece of plywood. And I tried it on my tool wall in the basement, and it worked great. I'm going to be bringing the tool wall out here to the Annex. It's going to sit over in that wall there. I'll probably make more of these for that. But I'm looking at this thing and thinking, well, I don't want to screw it to the hat shape. What do I do? Well, I thought, you know what? If I make French cleats, just like this hooks onto the top hat shape, this grabs a hold of the bottom hat shape, and the way I set them up, because I'd like to say these are all exactly the right distance apart, they're not. They vary. So I decided I was going to put a cleat on the top, set it in place, put a cleat on the bottom. Now this one just happens to be in behind a piece of conduit, so it's not going to go anywhere anyways. But with that cleat on the bottom, it can't get away. Then while I had it up on the wall, I glued another cleat on the bottom. And you saw, when I put the glue on it, a little glue dripped down and hooked out of that channel. It doesn't need it. I get a little wobble back and forth this way, but once I have the plywood on it and the weight of the materials on the plywood, it's not going to go anywhere. So now I'll show you how I made one of those cleats. I'm going to glue them together because glue is actually stronger than any other fastener. Now, some of you may argue with me on that, but everything I do and everything I've tried and a lot of stuff I've read says glue's stronger. Much greater attachment. Okay, that's simple enough. Once I've got the glue on the little board, Just put it on there and smear it around a little bit. Make sure I got a good attachment. Then take a clamp. Any clamp will do. The only reason I'm doing this is so that it doesn't skid around when I'm trying to start the screw. And this is just a, let's see, made by Grip Fast. It's a construction screw, number 6 by 1.25 inches. It's enough to go down through the top wood, grab a hold of the bottom, and not go through. Now, there's another one that goes on down here, but I'm not going to set this one on there until I have it ready to go on the wall. This glue has to set up, then it'll be done, done, done. A couple little adjustments. We'll finish this up in the morning. Once the glue is dry, I then bring the cleat over and drop it into place. Now these are gonna be spread out because I have a piece of plywood that's gonna go over, well actually chipboard that's gonna go over the top of this. And when I do that, I'll take these screws out and let these boxes come out a little bit so that this will be supported. Now that this top cleat has set up and the glue is dry, I slip it into place over the hat channel on top, and I take the lower cleat, which I've already pre-cut, put some glue on this surface, and slide it in back, and set it down until it sits on the hat shape. And I just put one screw in it. All it's got to do is hold it in place while the glue dries. There. Now, I can take it right out immediately, or I can leave it there to dry. Either way works. Next step is to dig out that piece of plywood over against the wall there, cut the top flat so that it's a nice smooth edge, and fasten it to these cleats. Now, that's a piece of chipboard that I nearly drove over going down Gull Road. It had been there a while, had tire tracks on it. So I stopped and got it out of the road and looked at it, and it's good shape. So I put it in the back of the truck and brought it home. Free piece of plywood, it's a free piece of plywood, even though it's chipboard, it's gonna work as a good backer. So let's set up that piece of chipboard and cut the top edge. Now while the saw battery is charging, I will hook up this other saw, which is 110 volt, and we'll cut the rest of this board off. Since this saw is set up backwards to the other one, for some reason I don't know why, I'll be cutting this direction. And I'll probably have to cut the whole thing off. Now look at that. It's a nice cut all the way across. And I'll take these off the wall. Spent a lot of time making them and putting them up there, and then decided I didn't want to have them there. The joy of being able to change your mind. The reason I'm doing this now is because I want to have these guys all up where I want them when I pull the wire through. So I will complete this task. At least I hope I will. And we'll see. I'm gonna have to take that junction box loose off the end there. This little tool here is something that one of you guys sent me, but this is a Klein socket driver that lets you run a set of sockets on this extension. This one's a 5/16 and a quarter, so I can put a 5/16 screw in with it, or I can put a 1/4 inch in it, just depending on which one I'm using. Yellow side happens to be 5/16. Works great. Lets me reach in and get to things. It's got a 1/4 inch hex drive, so it fits right into the tool. So you ever put it in too long a screw thinking, well, I'll never have to take that out? This is the kind of thing that proves you wrong on those assumptions. Humidity's up a little bit. Bugs are attracted to light for sure. That little crack in the door, and I've already had 3 come in. This will let me set the board down on these rests so I don't have to try and muscle it the whole way. There. That's a fair amount of weight to lift up. So I want to make sure, give myself every opportunity to lift it without any danger. Now I'm going to lift this up and take it over there, and then I'll swing you around so you can see me lift it. Yeah, I'm going to show off. Okay, now I'm ready to run wire. At least I think I am. The piece of chipboard was just fortuitous, one of those things that happens when you least expect it, and I decided I was going to go ahead and utilize it before I put up the wire. That makes the job change a little bit, but I think it's going to be a big improvement. So that's enough for one night. I'm going to go in the house, get cleaned up, get ready for bed. If you have any suggestions for new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.
This video is not to be viewed by anyone under the age of 13 in the U.S. or 16 in the European Union without the express written permission of the parents or the legal guardians of the underage person. Such written permission must be on file at the local government entity in charge of enforcing the rules and regulations established by the FTC. Anyone violating these terms is admitting by default that they hold harmless the owners and operators of this channel. Any and all questions should be addressed to your local branch of the FTC.